Good afternoon and welcome to round 9 of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship 2024, which comes from the Temple of Speed itself, Monza in Italy. Last year, this race delivered twists and turns throughout, making it one of the highlights of the first season. Will we be so lucky again? To find out, I'm joined for the first time since Manicourt we've been together by Robin Ciuman. Good afternoon, Robin. How are you?
Yeah, fine, thank you, Ash. Yeah, it really has been quite some time, but also it feels like it hasn't been that much time, if that makes any sense. Well, I'm definitely very much looking forward to this race today because for me it was the race of the season last year with all of the twists and turns that you've already hinted at. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure we'll have quite the exciting afternoon today as well.
I think so. So, as you can see, we are well into the second half of the season. 14 races, 7 before the summer break, 7 afterwards. You returned last week to a very wet Budapest today. We'll find out the weather in a second, but first, the standings. Let's go check in on the driver's standings first. And it is Yannis Volborn, who is in the lead and extends his lead over Lucas Murno after his second place finish last time. Pascal Polans managed his first win of the season last time out to shut the gap to the top two. Philip Pushka doing some damage limitation. Reuven Meshida still in fifth. And not going to get any further up today, as unfortunately he's missing it today. So the front four, very much the people we're keeping an eye on in the title fight. In terms of the constructor standings, well, once again, it's Holland Racing Team looking very comfortable out front. They're going to need quite an implosion, I think, if they're going to get caught up. Scuderia Cesario, though, and SCMM, both looking quite well set up for today. As we know, each team has their own design philosophy. Holland Racing Team has a very high downforce philosophy, and Monza, not a very high downforce track. So, will the other teams have their chance to maybe make up some ground today? We'll find out. But let's have a look at the weather forecast. As ever, WMSC issues a forecast for each race based on the statistical data of the location in the respective month and prepared by neutral persons. And no dramas this afternoon. It is sunny and gorgeous, perfect weather to go racing. So it'll be interesting to see how everyone does. Qualifying is due to start in about a minute's time, and we will got another packed grid once again this afternoon. As mentioned, we are missing Reuven Meshida. Believe we're also missing João Fernando Labau, so I think it's just the one Magnum Motorsports car running this afternoon. But we have 80 cars all ready to go. And we jump in now to the qualifying session. 15 minutes to decide the grid. So, since we've got a moment before we get started, Robin, I'm going to make you make a prediction. Who you're thinking for this qualifying session?
I think Lucas Murno had a pretty underwhelming afternoon 2 weeks ago. I think, and also for the sake of the championship, he is going to bounce back here today. So I'm gonna go for Murno and pole. Murno wins the race.
Very interesting. Okay, well, I'm going a similar logic, but a different driver. I think Philip Pushka. Philip Pushka is, I think, on good form. He's been very consistent. Behind Lucas Murno, he is now the person with the longest point-scoring streak of 6. Murno still going since last season, 21 consecutive points finishes. But I think his form has been good. So I think Pushka for pole and potentially for the race win. He was in contention last season before he disconnected, so it will be interesting to see how we go. But as we can see, we're watching Alexander Knezovic. Will Scuderia Cesario fall victim to a special livery curse? As you can see, they're normally fully red, but you can see they've got a more white decorated car celebrating being at Monza.
Speaking of special liveries, I remember Optiminal ran a special livery here last year, and the special livery curse did not strike for them. They won this race with Reuven Meshida. So Oh, that looked like a major slide there by Kneze into turn 1. He fought it though. Might not be the fastest lap of all, but yeah, at least he's still going.
I think it's even more than that. I think it was, if I remember rightly, it was a 1-2 as well for Optimal, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I think Holland's racing team had a pretty rotten afternoon. I think they were both hit by penalties, and they dropped down the order.
As we go on board with Alexander Knezovic. Up towards the Ascari chicane. Having that slight moment into the Roge chicane. But he will be the first to set a time this afternoon. And not the Roge, the Retophilia chicane, I should say. The first chicane. But towards the line we go. Immediately, though, he's been given someone a tow. And unsurprisingly, Pascal Polans benefits from that nicely. But Philip Pushka straight to the top, 4/10 clear. Axel Aflam in the meantime into 4th. He'll be looking for a little bit of redemption after last time, getting caught out by the wet weather. He looked pretty handy in the dry in practice, so it'll be good to see what you can do this afternoon. Here comes Daniel Benton-Reader. He was on a point-scoring run until last week, but then had a very messy afternoon indeed. Gonzalez Cativo. Coming around Parabolica, and the time's coming in thick and fast now. Meantime, Volborn puts himself in the mix, up into 2nd. Evo just ahead of Benton Reader. Gabriel Peckley in the meantime for Potenza Esport. Towards the line. Oh, and that might have just been an outlap, or it was invalidated for track limits, quite potentially. Quershu and the other Costec in 10th. You have a yellow in sector 3. That is holding. It's cleared now. Someone having an off there.
I think one of the crucial parts of the track is the exit of the Ascari chicane. This is where easily things can go wrong. You can run wide, even hit the wall there if you're not careful.
One running the super soft tyres, trying to get the maximum out of the car. Chase Machado has a Holland Racing Team car right behind him. I think that's just ducked into the pits. Machado up to 10th for now. Volborn has now gone purple. He was only 100th of a second off in his first effort. This looks like surely it's going to put him onto provisional pole. Here comes Yanis Volborn. And he's at the top by 1/10 of a second, but still only fine margins at the moment. And Gino, wonderful lap, putting him up to 4th. Ahead of Alexander Knezovic. Now, what can Paolo Wallami do? His 2nd race for Optimal Esports after joining them last time out. Obviously, without Ruben Meshda today, it's been a pretty rotten start to the second half of the season. Wallami finishing 9th, just missing out on points on his debut for the team. DNF for Ruben Meshda. And obviously he's not here this afternoon, but that's a solid lap so far for Wallami, into 6th. Comes Victor B. We talked many times about Infernal Void and their quite rough season so far. Hopefully they can pick up a result this afternoon. Incredibly, they've only finished on 3 occasions so far this season, which is a very damning stat indeed. But the flip side is, 4 occasions, but of those 4 occasions, 3 times they've scored points. So it's a good hit rate when you look at it in those terms, just getting to the end of the race.
Do we also have a number how often they made it through lap 1? Because this has been a big issue for them, mostly even outside of their own wrongdoing, just getting caught up unluckily in turn one, lap one incidents. So they might be very careful today because Monza's turn one has big incident written all over it on the first lap. So yeah, this is, I think, one of the crucial points for them this race.
Oh, it's infamous. It absolutely is. And thanks to Reuven Meshida in the chat. Reuven taking a break from sim racing this weekend and will likely be back in the next race, but here supporting Paolo. Great to see you, Reuven. Thanks for joining us this afternoon. A shame to not see you out there racing, but similarly completely appreciate taking the break when it's needed. Absolutely the right thing to do. And Pascal Polens, a purple final sector elevates him to an all-Holland Racing Team front row, and so far the design philosophy not hampering them at all. They are quick, and it's going to require a response from other people to try and break this lead.
Now this is very interesting. Last year they had a very low downforce philosophy, a Holland Racing Team, and we all thought Monza would be their race. Well, it wasn't. It was an optimal one too. I've just checked, so you were right earlier. This year, where we think, yeah, their low downforce philosophy might hurt them a bit here, they are currently on a front row lockout.
All going against the way you'd think at the moment, but hopefully there's a response here from Philip Pushka, who's gone purple in the middle sector by 0.006 of a second. He's just got the run down to Parabolica to go. He's got a little bit of traffic up ahead, but hopefully it won't hurt him through the corner. And he might even get a little bit of tow coming out of it if he's close enough. Out of Parabolica we go. We head towards the line. What's this going to be for Philip Pushka? It is enough to put him back on provisional pole. And we have got a very interesting duel developing. And here comes Yannis Volborn, who's gone quicker once again. It's 2 purple sectors. Is he about to immediately reclaim that top spot? Towards the line. And we've just had a note from someone being told that they can escape, as someone had an off somewhere, potentially. There might have been a crash. In the meantime, we are joined by João Fernando Labau, late arrival, so we are only missing Reuven this afternoon. On track, at least. Obviously, Reuven alluding to something in chat there that got announced in the server between races, that Optimal Esports will not be back next season. Reuven is looking for a drive and is going to be, as far as we know, driving somewhere else next season. But yes, Optimal have decided to bow out and wish the competition all the best, but they've decided to call time on their participation in the competition, which is absolutely a shame. Obviously, race winners just not come together for them this year. Hopefully, there's still a chance for them to maybe be on the top step once more before they bow out. And thanks for that, Max Heyman in chat confirming it was Jendrik Beerhoff who had the crash. Where is Jendrik on the timing sheet at the moment?
Last, it's 19th.
Oh, he is 19th, so it's pushing, and unfortunately, he will start there regardless. In the meantime, Knezovic up to 4th, ahead of teammate Lucas Murno. Victor B, purple in the first sector, quicker in the middle. Time seems to be dropping. Where can Victor B go? He's up to 8th. Track seems to be evolving.
Yeah, this is a bit curious. I was starting to wonder because Murno left it very, very late with his first Wally lap. He spent 6 minutes or so in the pit lane until he came out to set his banker lap. Now he's back out, but the first sector isn't all that impressive. 2 tenths down on Wilborn's pole time.
Head up to the He's going chicane, and he's still down. So he's struggling, but got a chance for at least 1 or 2 more runs, potentially. So, hopefully there's more in it, but he's not quite there yet. Oh, he decides to bail out of that one, so he's going to come in and try again. I was about to say, I do quite like that special livery for the Cesare. I think it looks very smart.
It does. It looks a bit like these later Alfa Romeo liveries that we've seen in Formula 1 the last few years. I really like them with that darker shade of red, metallic, and the white. Looks really clean, really nice.
Yeah, I agree. I thought they were really nice looking cars. I think we've had a bit of a downgrade since they've got rebranded to Kick Sauber. Not my cup of tea. I think they were much classier looking cars with that livery. In the meantime, Mark Jordan, though, heading down to Parabolica. He was incredibly purple in the first sector. We've got Daniel Benson really just ahead of him, heading towards the line. Seems to have had a bit of a struggle in the middle sector. Across the line we go. 2 minutes of the session left. People should be thinking about their track position for when they're going to get their final runs in now. As you can see, a few cars queuing up.
Oh my goodness, there is...
Who was that nearly caught? Was that one of the Infernals nearly going into the back of Yannis Volborn? I think that was Victor B.
B? No. I think it was it Mark Jordan? It was...
I think it was Victor B.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, sorry.
Dear me, just maybe looking at his settings, just not quite paying attention there, and that was nearly a big accident that could have been very costly there. In the meantime, Axel Laflamme on his second race for Kostec. Here we go, towards the line and up to 7th. Solid lap from him.
Yeah, I think this is a very good opportunity for the new drivers, Harvey Self and Axel Laflamme, to show what they can do. Hungary, new track, tricky conditions 2 weeks ago. Difficult debut, but this track, I think this is a track every sim racer is very familiar with. Sunshine, perfect conditions, so this is really a good benchmark to show what they're able to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Really difficult introduction, and for Axel especially, considering, as mentioned last time, he only found out about the competition on Thursday and then was confirmed as a replacement on Saturday night. So it was incredibly last-minute stuff. It wasn't quite the fairy tale, but I think the result is kind of what you'd expect when you're in last minute and then thrown into changeable conditions. So yeah, as you say, this afternoon, hopefully a good chance for them to really bed in and show what they've got. And Harley Self still on a flying lap. Hopefully we'll get some improvement from him as well. In the meantime, Philip Pushka towards the line, and it's not an improvement. He is across the line, so he might have a chance to go again. Go straight into another flying lap. But now, the checkered flag is out. Everyone who is out there on their final flying laps. There's Machado.
Both Cesario Zayn, no improvement from them.
Oh, and that's interesting. We saw a shot of them earlier running together, almost thinking that one of them was going to give the other a tow. Thinking they were setting up for a master plan final run, and how interesting. It's not come to fruition. Here comes Machado. In the meantime, Yannis Volborn already top. 2 tenths to the good in the middle sector.
I don't think there is anyone to challenge him. I think this is a Volborn pole again.
And he bails out. I think we're just confirming that everyone else who is out there is indeed on a in lap. Poland's pulling in.
Oh
no, my goodness, very nearly another big accident there, and Poland's goes and locks out the front row. Purple by 0.02 of a second in the minute. Philip Pushka, this doesn't look like a push lap.
No, he's 2.7 seconds down the middle sector. He's pulling in.
Incredible. Holland Racing Team have done it again. João Fernando in as well. I think the last few stragglers I think, yes, Machado had crossed the line once the flag had gone. So I do think that is your provisional grid for the race. Well, we were expecting potentially a bit of a challenge and a bit of a struggle for Holland Racing Team, but it's not quite gone that way. And they have done an incredible job. They lock out the front row of the grid. Janis Volborn from Pascal Polands, Pushka in third, Alexander Knezovic, a fine performance from him, out qualifying his teammate Lucas Murno, Gino Gajano in sixth, Axel Flam, a brilliant seventh for him. We've had a warning for someone for Rexy leaving the pit lane, but no action, so no change to grid as far as we're aware. Benton Reeder and Vela are 8th and 10th for Better Julia, respectively, sandwiching João Fernando in 9th. Victor B in 11th, just ahead of Paul Villami in the lone Optimal Esports today. Gonzalez Cativo, the two Potenzas, they were both in the points last time, taking advantage of the chaos. They are 14th and 15th. Mark Jordan 16th, Quercio 17th, Harley Self 18th, and Jendrik Beerhoff 19th. His session coming to an end early after an accident. So we will have a short break. There's going to be a short warm-up, and in about 10 minutes' time, it's going to be lights out in Monza. So I hope you will join us for that very soon. Welcome back to Monza, Italy. You join us just catching the tail end of the warm-up session. Lights out in about 3 minutes' time. We're ready to go very soon, but first let's go through that starting grid once again. No penalties administered and no historical penalties today to worry about, so this is how they qualified. It's an orange front row lockout for Holland Racing Team ahead of Filip Puška and Alexander Knežević, who outqualifies Lucas Murno, as Robin suggested, for the first time as a teammate. Ahead of Gino Gagliano, Axel Laflamme, 7th on his second race, just ahead of Daniel Bentonrieder, looking to recover after a disappointing Hungary. João Fernando Labau ahead of Denny Vella, while row 6 is Victor B and Paolo Bellamy in the lone Optimal Esports. Row 7, Gonzalez Cativo and Gabriel Peckley, who's just ahead of his teammate Mateus Machado in 15th, and Mark Jordan in the Velocita Virtuale in 16th. Mauricio Quercio and Harley Self, on row 9, while Jendrik Beerhoff, the lone car, 19th, crashing out early in the session, but hopefully a chance to recover from the back. So we have skipped into the race session. We will wait for the cars to appear on the grid. Remember, there is no formation lap. We'll have about a minute from lights out, and then we will go racing.
I think there's one information we still owe you. We had a warning at the end of the session, of the qualifying session. It was actually for Victor B for recklessly leaving the pit lane. That was the incident that we saw with him and Janus Woolborn. But no penalty administered there. So just a warning for Victor B. I think we missed that in the quali session.
Okay. Excellent stuff. And good to see Paul Muller, the team boss of Infernal Void and Velocita Virtuale there. He's got his traditional ice cream back this week. Hopefully that's a good omen for you today. I do hope we will see a good result for the boys this afternoon. We are just waiting for... Looks like we're just having some issues getting into the session.
Yeah, I think we're back in warm-up. I think there will be another jump in a second.
So at the start of qualifying, you made your prediction. Are you sticking with Lucas Murno or are you twisting?
Well, I think I am sticking to Lucas Murno, hoping that I don't jinx him with that. For 2 reasons. Actually, he might have set up his car more towards the race, and we saw that before. In Spa-Francorchamps, he didn't have an impressive qualifying session there either. Started the race in 5th, and he won that one quite dominantly after taking the lead halfway through the race and then never looking back. And Spa, not really that similar kind of track, but it is also a high-speed track. So I think Murno might still make it because he has done so before.
That's very sound logic, and I wish I had logic as strong for that, for why I'm going to stick with Philip Pushka. I'm just going to stick with Philip Pushka because I'm going to stick to my guns, basically. I've not got any kind of good sound logic to back that up. It's a good shout. Obviously, the main thing is he's going to have to get past his teammate, Alexander Knežević, ahead of him, and I know that. Oh, and we've got an issue. I think race control had some issues jumping into the session, and they're having to just reform the grid to be able to get started. So bear with us. We will be going in a moment's time. But yeah, Alexander Knežević, I knew, was very keen to try and close the gap to his teammate, Lucas Murno. He'll be very happy with that fourth place on the grid.
Yeah, and I think Holland Racing Team, obviously, they will also be very, very happy because this gives them the opportunity to work together and kind of break the DRS train, or, well, create a DRS train. Because due to the high downforce philosophy, they may still be vulnerable in a straight line, and the lead car of any DRS train will not be able to use it. So they may be easy to overtake, but not if they are working together. So I think this is the main task for Pushka, Knežević, and Murno to kind of break that DRS train and get past one of the Holland Racing Team cars, because getting past the other one will be a much easier job.
This has been the issue before, that the Holland Racing Team have been so good at getting both of their cars up to the front to create a bit of a wall, and it's so often 2 versus 1, whether it's them versus Ruven Meshida, them versus Lucas Murno, them versus Philip Pushka, because unfortunately the teammates, while still very solid and scoring points for their teams, just aren't quite with them at the front to make it a 2v2 fight. So having that extra chess piece on the board, if you like, has proved invaluable for them, and it may do so again this afternoon. It might still be very difficult, obviously, because even though you're the front car in a DRS train, sure, second is your teammate, but it's going to be very difficult to try and stop another car coming through as well, especially down that main straight. Now we have just jumped into the session once again with the grid remade, and everyone is joining. This looks a bit more positive. Hopefully the rest are getting on to the start now. Waiting for the grid to form up.
This looks a lot more promising. More and more cars joining now. I think we should be good to go in a couple of seconds.
Yannis Volborn pop in and out a couple of times. I wonder if he's just checking his setup before they get going. I think we're almost there, just a couple of cars missing. I think this may be it. Here we go. The revs come up. The lights come on. And after a short delay, off we go in Monza.
Oh,
and immediately,
Pushka!
It's an incredible start from Philip Pushka. He's caught both of them napping. It's going to be 3 wide into turn 1. Everyone on the brakes early. But incredibly, the Holland Racing Team cars hang on. We've got a couple of cars taking to the escape road. They have to slow down. We've got one of the better Julias off on the far right escape road of your screen. But incredibly, after that start, he knew what he had to do. But Holland Racing Team have managed to repel Philip Pushka. Murno has gotten past Knežević. I think Knežević was the driver who took to the escape road, and he's had to relinquish the place. But it is Poland's who's managed to get ahead of Yannis Volborn, notably, as well. We've got Harley Self, who's had to go wide into the Roja chicane. But everyone is through turn 1 without any major dramas. Philip Pushka, what a start that was. So close.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that start was even too good for his own because he immediately he had to take to the grass because there's simply no room on that very tight start-finish straight. The Holland racing teams were almost stationary still as he was already past them. So yeah, he had to take to the grass, and
Oh, and
that is not
Knežević.
a good. Oh,
Oh, this
Benson Reader pushes Knežević wide.
just didn't seem to have the run out of the Ascari chicane. He was doing his best to try and stop people just pouring past him, but at the minute he's going backwards, and after such a good
Oh
qualifying,
my goodness!
and that's one of the pretenders, and we have an accident, and surely that's a safety car. That's Denny Vella out of the race. Oh, and it's just too much weaving and aggressive bobbing on the straight, and Denny Vella is out. Is anyone else out with that though as well? And safety car has unsurprisingly been called, and we will get a replay of that now. So we join with Denny Vella. So we've got Paolo Villan in the other up terminal having a bit of a struggle. Gets onto the back of this clump of cars here. And it looks like, is it a Potenza that gets into him? It is. I think it's Machado who makes contact. Oh my goodness. I think it's a Potenza that makes contact with, I think, one of the Vela cheaters. That starts a chain reaction, and then it sends Denny Vella across track and catapulting into the other Potenza.
Yeah, but that looked like a very aggressive swerve there by the Potenza. There may have been even contact earlier that sent him over into the other car.
Oh, and Knežević has lost both a front and a rear wing by the looks of it.
And I think this was all started by the situation that we saw with Benton Reader pushing Knežević wide into the parabolic car. And then there were too many cars on the same piece of tarmac all of a sudden. There's also a Magnum car missing a rear wing. That is... who is it? João Fernando in 6th.
When did that happen? Like, gonna have a lot to try and catch up on, and we'll try and bring you some more replays. In fact, we've got one for you now. So this is the race start. This was the cleanest part of the first lap, incredibly. And what a start this is from Filip Puška. Just nails the first part of the launch brilliantly. Unfortunately, he's compromised by having to take to the grass. He's been given the space at least, but unfortunately he's then on the outside for turn one, and because they are 3 wide, he's had to tuck in behind. We can see that Knežević gets a little bit sideways and goes across the grass. I think Axel Flam also has to follow him across as well. But then as we head through Curva Grande, they're all through cleanly. This wasn't the troubled part of the lap at all, but Filip Puška so close to a fabulous start.
Yeah, and remarkably, that despite that great start, he almost lost out to Murno in the Retifilia chicane. He was alongside because the Holland Racing Team cars entered that corner first and second, and then there was also Murno trying to seize his opportunity down the inside. So, yeah, what a shame for Filip Puška to not convert that awesome start that he had there, because that would have been perfect for his race, getting past both cars before turn one even.
Absolutely. And here is Alexander Knežević. So this is earlier in the lap. And oh god, there was... is that Paolo Villami? Oh! My goodness.
What happened there?
So
That was a big hit.
But is this after the safety car's been got? This is after the incident on the main straight where he's survived, and essentially Villami's just gotten a little bit antsy trying to get through and caught him. That's... So Knežević survived the initial madness, and I think just before the safety car gets called, he takes a big hit, and now he's all the way down at the back. In fact, Denny Vella, who I'm sure is about to retire the car, will go. And now here is Paolo Villami amongst this. Let's just watch here. Oh my goodness. So he survives this first bit incredibly. Like I say, it was the contact between the Potenza and a Velocita. And you can see he's clearly sensing an opportunity to try and get up and past Knezovic. Knezovic just seems to be going backwards. He makes a big sharp turn out, and this, oh my goodness, I'm not even sure how he just gets into the back of him so quickly.
Yeah, I was wondering about that too. I mean, we don't have telemetry, but it would be interesting to see if there was some sort of a lift, maybe because the safety car was called at that moment. I don't know.
That might be it, actually. I think it's the safety car gets called and one driver reacts quicker than the other. I think that's a very good call on that.
We also had a final warning for Axel Laflamme. I didn't quite get that, or actually didn't see what happened to Laflamme, because there was so much going on. So this is João Fernando. He also lost front and rear wing. Here is the safety.
Oh!
I'm pretty yeah, this is for Axel Laflamme. Okay, yeah.
Oh no, I don't know. I don't think Axel Laflamme was that far down. I think Quercio was lower down the order at this point.
Yeah, but I think.
Because,
yeah.
And Victor B has just been given a drive-through penalty for crashing into. Sorry, we've just got a couple of race control things. So that was Victor B for crashing into Alexander Knezovic. He's got a drive-through. Gabriel Peckley, in the meantime, has been given a drive-through for causing the start-finish crash. He was the Potenza that caused all that issues, which, ironically, then ended up taking out his teammate as well, as Machado got caught by Vela as he was sent cannonballing across track. So 2 penalties there. My goodness. Thoughts, Robin?
Yeah, I still haven't processed this yet. Yeah, so I guess penalty for Peckley is a no-brainer. I think that one is quite clear. Victor B as well. No, what happened to Victor B again? I forgot.
He apparently crashed into the rear of Knezovic, so he's been blamed for that incident.
Oh yeah, right. It wasn't Villami then. Okay.
Yeah, which is interesting. But in the meantime, they've gone early. Janis Volborn and Pascal Polands have gone incredibly early. Poland's leading the way. Poland's obviously winning last time out. Is he going for back-to-back wins today? He's got a chance, but it's a perfect start. Obviously, they wanted to break that DRS train, and off they go. 2 seconds clear of Pushka. Then it's Murno, Gagiano, Benton Reader, and immediately Gagiano's having a little look up towards the inside, but decides against it. In the meantime, Paolo Villami chasing Gonzalez Cativo. Everyone and someone having to take to the grass there. That looks like one of the Potenzas. I think that's Machado. Obviously, he got the damage repaired, but there might be more damage that we can't see. Max Heyman, the race director, having to deal with chaos in his first race without fellow race director Kevin Peters. Never going to have a quiet afternoon, Max, unfortunately. I don't think he was ever on the cards.
Yeah, not in Monza, at least.
No. In the meantime, Victor B has served his penalty. I think Gabriel Peckley still has to. Villami, in the meantime, holding on to 7th, looking for his first points from Timonal.
No, Villami just passed Cativo. Cativo played along, though. They were battling already into turn 1. Oh, Cativo looks a bit slow there.
Peckley is looking at it. In the meantime, Knezovic is going to look to recover up through the field. Janis Volborn setting the fastest time. Knezovic at the minute, he seems a bit slow in a straight line. He seems to be struggling, and to be fair, it looked like he was struggling before, but I imagine there is a fair bit of damage on that car after the incident, so I think if the setup maybe wasn't working before, it's definitely not working now.
Yeah. But it might be that they are slow in a straight line, but I don't see the same issues for Lucas Murno in 4th. Also, Ruben telling us in the chat that Kinesis steering is completely bent. I do believe that. I don't think anything's working too well after that big shunt there. Another big shunt also for João Fernando. We were talking about this before we got all of the penalties. And I think, yeah, it was Axel Flam who got a warning. This was also when the safety car was triggered, I believe, that he hit the rear wing of Fernando Labau because we saw him driving without it. Though, thanks to the safety car, they all managed to fix their cars and stay on the lead lap. Gabriel Peckley also served his drive-through penalty in the meantime, stayed ahead of Victor B. And Pushka has closed the gap to the front and is back in the DRS.
So it has all been going on at the start of this race once again. Last time it was the weather. This time it is, well, just Monza first lap things, although not at the point we were expecting. In the meantime, though, Philip Pushka was dropped by almost 2 seconds off the start, but he's got it back down to 1, and he's looking at getting into the DRS of Yannis Volborn. Very important for his afternoon. And it's very similar to last year. We had this where I think the start of the race was the 2 Holland Racing Team cars in the lead and Ruben Meshida trying to break through an orange wall.
Yeah, it is. Though last year, Ruben Meshida was the car trying to get past those 2 orange ones ahead. He had a bit of support from Dylan Fisher, his then teammate, who later finished second in that race. Gino Giuliano is still just behind Lucas Murno in 5th, so should he get past this Cesario, there might be an opportunity to support his teammate, Giuliano, in his home race here today. Looking for good results this season, and not the greatest one for him either. He's only 1 point if I'm not mistaken. At the circuit for sure, just ahead on summer break.
Well, interesting, we've update from Magnum team boss Henry Buckland saying that Zhao also dealing with steering wheel veering off to the left, which looks quite severe on the straights. So he's having to deal with a fair bit of damage. Not the only one this afternoon, and see if he can still maybe convert this afternoon into something. Still a long way to go. Still plenty of opportunities, I'm sure. But worth noting that Philip Pushka did set the fastest lap of the race last time out by 0.2 of a second ahead of the race leader. So he is now very much on the back of them. He's in DRS. And unfortunately, that warning from Axel Flam has been upgraded into a full-on penalty. Maybe the extent of the damage has been considered, and Axel Flam will have to serve a penalty. A shame he's running in the last points position, had a decent start, but he just got caught off guard by the safety car call, I think, which is what caused that accident. So he's going to have to serve a drive-through now as well.
Yeah, and I think that is a good call from race control, because it was quite a similar incident with what happened with Victor B and Alexander Knazevic. So I was a bit surprised at first that Laflamme got away with a warning while B got the drive-through. So yeah, I think good call here on consistency and a good review.
No, absolutely. Very hard to keep up with these things as they happen. Sometimes you just have to take a second and review. In the meantime, though, Philip Pushka is very much right up behind, and this is the thing. This is where the strategy comes into play, where Pascal Poland's obviously giving the DRS to Yannis Volborn, making it harder for Philip Pushka to try and make a move. But he's incredibly close as we head towards the Parabolica. I imagine he will bide his time, and we'll see if he's in a position to try and make a move coming into turn 1. And we will look at tyres as well in a second. As you can see, there is a little bit of a split of strategy, but the top 5 are all starting on the mediums. Then it's Benton, Reader and Villami on the super softs. There's only 6 cars running at the moment. that have the super softs.
I think what we see here is very interesting because right now the Holland Racing Team tactic is working, but the closer Pushke is, the more difficult it will be to work together for the HRT cars. Because at one point, when Pushke is too close on the main straight, will be forced to attack Poland. I think he lifted just ahead of the braking zone into turn 1. If Pushk is really close, he won't be able to do that, and then there will only be one way for Wilborn, and that is past his teammate.
What we were talking about before on that main straight, you are something of a sitting duck. In the meantime, Yannis Volborn just trying to get out of the slipstream of his teammate just to defend whilst not attacking, which is a very awkward position to be in.
And with the DRS being so powerful, we have experienced this ourselves, and all that looked like Pushka was trying to go for a move into Parabolica. With the DRS being so powerful in these cars, it is difficult to stay behind if you're trying to do that. Look at that, he's under 3/10.
I think he's got a little bit of a breather this time. Oh,
Now
is
he's
Volborn
going
going
fast.
for it? He's made the switch. And I wonder if they're just going to kind of peloton this like you would in cycling, and if they've got the space to do so, they'll just constantly switch places with each other in order just to kind of keep the momentum up and keep Pushka behind. And Pushka just didn't quite get the exit out of Parabolica, which gave them the space and time to be able to make that switch.
Yeah, he looks very close on the straight towards the Parabolica, which is not the one where you want to be close, because the braking into Parabolica is not as heavy as into the Retifilio chicane. Then there's also no DRS, and he lost out there.
And we've just had another drive-through penalty administered for Mauricio Quercio. So that is both Costechs getting a drive-through now, and he's made contact with Mark Jordan. In the meantime, amongst all this, Harley Self has kept his nose clean and is up to 12th. As far as we're aware, no damage for him, unlike his teammate Jean Fernando Labau. But running okay at the minute, and just behind Alexander Knezovic, who is trying to recover into the points. As you can see, he is snaking quite heavily.
Yeah.
He is having to really manage the damage on that car. I mean, if he's managed to able to get back in the points with that would be a hell of a drive, but he's got some work to do for sure.
Yeah, you can really see it now from the shot above. That car is not straight. He's going sideways on the entire track. And especially on the braking, I imagine this is going to be very, very difficult to handle. This is the drive-through for Axel Flam, and Quercia, who also got a drive-through now. That collision that he had with Mark Jordan must have lost him a lot of places, because he was up there with Axel Flam. I think they were running pretty close together earlier. Now it's Quercia down in, well, he was 15th. Now he also made it into the pits for his drive-through. He's down there in 17th.
Absolutely. It's been a very messy start for a lot of drivers on the grid. And the thing is now, though, with penalties served and with understanding, what sort of damage your car's got, what's been repaired, and what you're stuck with for the remainder of the race, it's just now an opportunity to just try and settle down, try and calm things down, get into a rhythm, drive as best you can with, the state that your car is in. Still a long way to go. And there's a bit of space opening up, so it's going to be slightly less intense, and hopefully there's a chance for some people to recover.
Yeah. A surprise attack by Pushka, and there's contact. I wonder what race control will say about that. Poland will argue he was pushed off the track there. Pushka will say he's just gone for a gap that was there. But there definitely was a gap. He was alongside on the braking.
That is interesting. It's how much did Pascal Polands actually turn in? Because, was that contact caused by Philip Pushka being slightly out of control? Or was it the fact that actually he was under control, there was the space, Polands didn't afford it? didn't avoid the contact and essentially ended up pushing himself wide by trying to defend too hard. I'm sure it'll be looked at, and we will see. But already, if the call's coming, you'd have to expect it to come sooner rather than later, because if it doesn't, he might have to give up 2 places rather than 1, as Philip Pushka is directly straight onto the back of Yanis Volborn.
Yeah, and I think this is what Holland Racing Team were trying to avoid from happening, because this now, I think, will be a much easier overtake for Philip Pushkin now that he split the 2 of them.
One
Yeah, go ahead.
saving grace, though, I would say, is that obviously it's a higher downforce package for Holland Racing Team, and that's helping them through Parabolica to get a better exit out of the corner. So obviously Philip Pushka is struggling slightly more. Also, he's dealing with dirty air as well. So that is at least coming, at least on this lap, to Yanis Volborn's rescue.
Yeah, it is.
And the call has come. Philip Pushka has been asked to let Pascal Polens back through. We will get a replay of it in a moment, but we will wait for the moment when he lets him through. I imagine it's going to be on the run up to the Ascari chicane, I'm guessing. Come through now. He's so close up behind Yanis Volborn. When's he going to do it?
This is going to be terrible for Pushki, because he sees that maybe this time on the main straight will have been the opportunity to take the race lead. I would love to see the replay again. I feel, just after seeing it once, that it is a harsh call.
Yeah, how it goes, but
we
makes
might
the
have
call.
to see a replay.
Tried to give it away in such a sense that he can maybe go straight back on the attack. Unfortunately, Poland's will have DRS, I think, by the look of it, in terms of to defend again, but Pushka's right back underneath the wing, but not this time. And normal service is resumed at the top. So, here we go. Let's have a little look. So, very much a sneak attack. He just sees the moment. He sees that Poland is having to let off the throttle. Ooh, that's really difficult to judge. From that angle, it doesn't look like, even though Philip Pushka has sent it, he's not out of control of the vehicle. It's not like, say, Max Verstappen when he made that move up the inside of Lewis Hamilton in Hungary. Another angle here. This might shed some light on things. I don't know. It would be good if we have an onboard from Pascal Polens' perspective.
Oh my goodness! Into Ascari, there is almost contact. Now he's getting desperate.
I mean, I feel like he knows he's got to try and create something if the the more established overtaking zone isn't the place. But my goodness, that is a risky place to try and pull a move.
I think I can understand Pushki, because I tend to say that move was on. I think there was enough place on the track for Poland, so he didn't need to leave it. Poland's going for an overtake on Volborn, because Pushka, look how close he is once again. And this is the issue. This is also the opportunity that Pushka has taken on that earlier instance, where he had to give the position back. Because Poland's, look, here he's backing out, lifting, and then here comes Philip Pushka.
Again, that's tough. That's a really tough decision. And I think no matter which way you go, each driver has a fair point. You could say, oh, well, I was there. But you can absolutely see from Pascal Polens' perspective, it looks like he's just kind of come in and barged out the way.
Yeah. I do agree. I think you can give it either way. I think it definitely is a harsh call, but I can see the point from Pascal Polens' point of view now. From the outside, it looks like a fine move by Philip Pushka, hard but fair. But yeah, after seeing Polens' onboard, it was still a bit of a dive bomb. But I think you could have given it either way.
Well, he's going to have another opportunity now. He looks quite close behind this time, but obviously DRS is going to be helping Poland's. Poland's coming out, but obviously he's having to try and lift. And Pushka knows. Pushka knows exactly why. Oh, and he knew that was the opportunity. Gets it on the grass, and unfortunately, he's going to drop down now to 4th place, and Lucas Murno takes point in the fight. Ah, that's such a shame. He knows exactly that was the opportunity, and just gets caught on the grass, and it sends him round, and he's now just ahead of his teammate Gino Gajano.
Yeah, it is such a weird situation there at the front. With the Holland Racing Team cars trying to not overtake each other, but the car behind just having such a great advantage on the main straight that this creates some difficult situations where it's they are trying to avoid each other.
And Ruben Meshida makes a good point in the chat. Why not wait for more laps? And I think my theory on that, to kind of almost kind of thought in the same time, is he's just going to be a little bit. He's been passed once. He might be a little bit frustrated by the decision, and was just pushing it a little bit too hard. And the important thing now is he doesn't kind of, he needs to compose himself, work on the gap. Unfortunately, he now has Lucas Murno in his way as well.
Yeah, Murno's really struggling. He's not keeping up with the Holland Racing Team cars. He hasn't been inside that DRS win. They're not even remotely close the last few laps. Oh, there's a big moment in the background for, I believe, that is... was it Harley Self? Yes, it was.
Yeah.
Big moment exiting Ascari.
And that's allowed Vic to be a chance to come through, and he takes that place. And Self has dropped a few places last time. As you can see, LaFlamme and Peckley seem to be just in behind Knezovic when it was Harley Self before, but unfortunately Self going backwards at the moment. I don't think he's still going. He's going to have a look at maybe trying to fight back with Victor B. Not at this moment, but if he can get a good exit out of the Resifilia chicane. Like B has got the slightly better launch. And he managed to make that one stick for now. And Victor B is running the super soft tyres, so he's going to have a little bit more grip. Have to keep an eye out for the super soft runners when they come in as well, to see how long those tyres last, because obviously our medium runners will need that information later on in the race.
And honestly, right now we are already in lap 19. The laps just tick off really quickly here at Monza. This is looking like a one-stop race to me now. Oh! Big moment for Self. Under braking, that looked odd.
That looks very odd. You almost think that he got a hit from behind, but we know that there was no one right behind him. It was a very odd moment indeed. Self does continue, but backwards, and then the space of 2 laps, he has a moment on the exit of the Ascari chicane and a moment on the entrance.
Interesting point raised in the chat by Kyokiri46. He might have shifted into neutral accidentally. So yeah, Ruben confirming that point. So that is what happened probably to Harvey Self. And look at Harley Self, sorry. Look at Lucas Murno. He's really pushing it, but not making any impression on the HRTs at the front.
Oh, he just doesn't seem to have quite the pace of Waldorf Poland and Pushka at the moment. It's not happening. On flicking into neutral, it can be done. Obviously, these cars have 8 gears. When you're especially downshifting very quickly as you do, sometimes you can go one too far. Or maybe if you have a pedal that isn't particularly responsive, and then you double click and you get a bit more than you bargained for.
Oh yeah, I had that issue on my wheel once where it sometimes just double shifted. That was the wheel issue for me back then. That was horrible, that thing. I had to get rid of it as soon as I could, because that was terrible. Just didn't know what to expect when you pressed it. Sometimes it didn't do anything. sometimes it shifted 2 gears, so yeah.
It's not the nicest at all. When especially when you need to move through the gears quickly, you want something that's reliable and responsive. In the meantime, Gabriel Peckley is closing in very slowly on Axel Laflamme. Both of these guys. Actually, there's a difference of tyres, I should say. Laflamme is on the medium, while Peckley is running the super soft. So that might be why Peckley is slightly got the edge at the moment. Both of them, though, tyres slightly worse for wear, but still seemingly enough life that Peckley can try and reel in.
Yeah, and this is interesting. Peckley started on these tyres. He was in just once to serve a drive-through. So lap 21 and the super soft still looks fine, at least on the Potenza.
Very close on the parabolic. As you can see, Alexander Knežević doing a very fine job holding his place in the top 10 ahead of these guys. Car snakes ahead of him. Not going to be doing his tyres any good.
Always, when you see him, he looks like something out of Initial D or something. It's like, it's crazy.
And Peckley not quite close enough this time. Pretty close on chat. And here is our resident drift expert, Alexander Knežević. And oh my goodness, look at the steering angle on that. It's like driving in NASCAR's Cup Series car. The angle he's having to hold things at. So obviously then an extra bit of rotation through the first Lesmo.
That must be painful to drive this car.
Such a shame for him after out-qualifying his teammate for the first time this season. It's just all gone wrong since then. Crabbing around the circuit of Monza. In the meantime, Pascal Poland's up ahead, setting a fastest lap. He does a 1:24 dead. That last lap, half a second faster than his teammates. So he might be looking to push back, but at the minute, neither Murno nor Pushka are making the ground up. And I think the lack of DRS assistance really hurting them both. Meantime, someone who does have DRS is Gabriel Peckley, but still just a little bit too far back.
Yeah, and Laflamme will have DRS soon. They're slowly getting closer to Knežević. So that might save him.
Battle between Kostek and Potenza, the two lovable backmarkers of the series. But Potenza last time having a fantastic day. Peckley in 5th and Mateus Machado in 8th, taking advantage of the madness in Hungary.
Yeah, Gabriel Peckley won for the top teams maybe even as well. He had some incredible performances. He got the first points for Potenza this year. He was very unlucky in Canada that he got an unlucky 5-second penalty early in that race. Otherwise, Peckley would have been on the podium. He finished that race in 3rd. Unfortunately, had a 5-second penalty that dropped him out of the points even because we had a late safety car restart ahead of the final lap. And then 5th in Hungary.
And Daniel Benson Reader is in. He was running the super soft tyres, so that is 23 laps for the super softs. And looks like maybe there's some repairs going on here as well, because this is a very long stop indeed. And out he comes. And as he's saying, just short of the halfway mark. So, yeah, it's looking like we're on for a one-stop at this rate.
Yeah, I would be surprised he's now on the mediums. I think everything other than a one-stop doesn't really make sense now for Benson Reed or, in fact, any other car on the track.
We approach the halfway point. Interesting to see. Obviously, we'd expect the medium tyre runners to maybe run a little bit longer, as long as they possibly can if the tyres are feeling good. But super soft runners now. Oh my goodness, and Mark Jordan up ahead, getting a little bit out of shape through the Rozier chicane. Benton Reader immediately putting him under pressure, and I think he's going to want to try and get by as soon as he can.
I think it might already happen here.
DRS is open, heading towards the Ascari chicane. Gonna look, I think he might wait. Oh no, he is going to look up to the Ascari chicane, and Mark Jordan there very sensibly decides not fight that one. In the meantime, Paolo Villani also a super soft!
Oh yeah, that is the corner. I've been talking about it earlier. You can get it wrong so easily there.
Fortunately, Benton Reader keeping out of the wall. He's going to have to make that move again. But Paolo Villani, I was about to say, has managed his stop without issue. He was also running the super softs.
Yeah, and a quick shout out there to Fernando Labau. He was running without the rear wing going into the safety car period. He's up in 6th. I mean, he took advantage of Benton Reader pitting, and I think Walami pitting as well. But still, and his car is bent as well. You were able to see it there approaching the Ascari chicane.
An important few races for Magna Motorsports. Obviously, they had their pre-season updates. Then last time, after the summer break, they essentially put all of their development budget in and decided they were going to, try and get as many points as they could in the next few races, having essentially, rather than spread it out, go all at once, have a big boost, a big improvement to the car, described almost as a completely different car. So, the question is, can they make it work? Last time it did. Fernando Labau with a 7th place after qualifying 6th on the grid. At the minute, he is 6th. Obviously, some pit stops to go, potentially, at least one for him. He has stopped once because of the damage, but going to be looking to run those super softs for a very long time, if that is the case, if this is him to the end.
Yeah, I mean, he's now, I don't know, his tyre was...
I think it was super soft.
Yeah, okay, so he has to go for medium. Yeah, I was about to say, if he started on the medium, there might have been an opportunity for a double super soft stint, because he would have gotten the medium out of the way early, but he's definitely going to come in for a set of mediums later this race. But even if he's just up there in 6th because of the pit stops, he was running in 8th ahead of Willami and Benton Reader's pit stops. So this is still an impressive feat. We were able to see it on board. His steering is not remotely as bent as the steering of Alexander Knezovic, but still significantly, and he's doing a very good job as well. Here on the main straight, you can really see the car is also trying to escape from him.
I'm just having a little look through, and no one, as far as I can tell, apart from Paolo Willami. Oh no, not Paolo Willami, sorry. Yes, no one who got caught up in that early, in the early mess and had early pit stops decided to switch tyres. So no one who stopped before the recent stops we saw is risking, say, like a 48 odd lap stint to try and get to the end, or have a free choice for their next stop. Everyone has still pretty much in lockstep. They need to do another tyre, and here is Paolo Willami getting a little bit out of shape in the first and almost the second Lesmo there.
Yeah, it can happen at any moment. If someone gets a wheel on the gravel or on the grass and they spin into the opposite wall. We've seen how close he was with Benton Reader. He almost smacked into that green tire wall there on the left. Yeah, this race could spring wide open at any moment. Right now, though, I'm a bit surprised that Pushke is not really closing in on Lucas Murner after his earlier spin in turn 1. He is closer now than he was after that spin, but still, 1.3 seconds, which means he does not have DRS currently to fight Lucas Murno. And Murno slowly but definitely dropping back from Bourbon and Poland as well.
Yeah, he just doesn't seem to have the pace this afternoon. He's up there, obviously. It would be another points score for him. Extending his streak, the longest in WMSC history, to 22 races in the points, assuming nothing else happens. At the minute, Pascal Poland's still showing that there's life in those medium tyres with another fastest lap. I do wonder if he is starting to put the pressure on to look for a second win. In the meantime, Alexander Knežević on the attack. González Kativo, he's got Gabriel Peckley just behind him.
And he's going to make a pass in that NASCAR.
It's incredible. He's climbing all over the back of González Kativo, and Peckley's queuing up as well. You can see Laflamme just in the background as well, followed by Walami. But Knežević, despite the damage, is doing an incredible job recovering this car, and Kativo bails out. He's going to get the DRS, I think, anyway. I think he would have already passed the activation. Yes, but Peckley sees his chance. Peckley's going to go to the outside. How hard is Knežević going to fight this? He is going to fight it. They go side by side into one. Oh, and I think that was very smart driving from Peckley. I feel like they both slid. I think Peckley saw the space going and just decided to bail out, so he's going to have to try again. But they survived that one. In the meantime, Kativo in. He was on the mediums, and Kativo, I think, might have just been caught speeding in pit lane. So that was a penalty for him. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I think also Peckley gave Knežević a bit of more room, because surely he's seeing, following that Cesario, that the car might be a bit difficult to control, especially if you're fighting another car.
Yeah, he knows that he just needs to be a little bit patient, that's all. Here is Knežević again, and he's not going to have DRS to help him this time around. Already, he's right behind him. Going to wait. He's not going to wait. That's a brilliant move. He just decides to outbrake. Fine move. Remember, he's running the super softs, but he decides, despite making that move, to go in, and that is going to be his one stop. So Knežević gets another free bit of DRS, charges down the main straight. He is holding the gap to Laflamme at the moment, it seems, who's also got Walami coming in, and oh dear me, that looked like Walami had gone a little bit over the curb there. In the meantime, Puška has finally reeled in Lucas Murno. So how much of a fight is this going to be? Because Murno knows he's not got the pace, but obviously he still wants to get as many points as possible in his fight for the championship. So here we go. Towards the DRS line we go. Puška is incredibly close. DRS is open, he's in behind, he tucks out, there's a car coming out of the pits. That's not really the most ideal situation for him. He's got the move done, he's going to have to tuck it behind. Oh, and I think is that Kativo?
Yeah, I think he just served his drive-through because he came in again.
Well done to everyone not causing a collision there, and Kativo just getting out of the way. And the move is done, but not quite yet. Murno is going to be in behind. He will have DRS. Will he get a chance to fight back? This is an important lap now. Important few corners, in fact. Filip Puška through Lesmo 1. Gets a good run through there. Gap is 6.6 seconds to the leader and just over 6 seconds to Pascal Poland. So he's got work to do. But down Ascari we go. And he's pulled a decent little gap already, it has to be said. But Murno is going to have DRS into Ascari.
I think the Cesari is nowhere today. He didn't even defend on the main straight, and he'll be out of DRS quite soon as well. There's nothing Murno can do.
It's very interesting, you know, that they're both Cesario and SCMM have brought upgrades this week. Notably for Cesario, whose initial philosophy is high downforce, and as we see Murno in. Yeah, they've done drag reduction on their car, and I think they did that in anticipation, knowing that maybe they weren't quite going to be there in a straight line. Whereas SCMM have brought quite a big package of upgrades: side pod cooling, front end, front and rear downforce, all brought for this weekend. So yeah, it's serving them well, but can Pushka do anything with it in the time remaining? Pit stops left for those top four now, but Lucas Murno has served his mandatory stop. He is now on to the super soft tyres, so he's going to be pushing. Let's see if he can do anything now on the softer tyre.
That spin earlier has cost Philip Pushka also a big opportunity for an undercut. 6.5 seconds. That is nowhere close enough to put the HLTs under pressure. As soon as he comes in at this, there is a big off for someone in the background. Out of Ascari, it's Gonzalez Cativo. Okay. I thought he lost his rear wing there.
I did for a moment. Yeah, it did. It did for a moment look like it, but no. But everyone out. So the top four once again, all through. No one taking the risk at the moment. Little change lower down. Paolo Alami, I think, has finally got past Axel Laflamme. Those two yet to do their stops, and as you can see, they're now right up behind Knežević. Knežević, a little bit of a cork in the bottle. He seems just quick enough to keep ahead of these guys, but there might be trouble here. And we've had a warning for Axel Laflamme at some point during that altercation. In the meantime, Labau is in. That's the man we were looking out for. Fernando Labau is pitting, so we'll see what he can do with that damaged car. Snaking out. At the minute is an opportunity for Villani here. Knežević, oh my goodness, tries to tuck back in, but obviously dealing with that slightly wonky steering. And Villani up into sixth. Still an opportunity for him to get his first points for Optimal this afternoon. But can Axel Laflamme now try and make his way past the stricken Alexander Knežević? Fencing opportunity for points. Both of them a little bit squirmy under braking there, but oh my goodness. Tell you what, Villami's had a bit of a moment coming out of the Roger chicane. And it's now concertining everyone up. And Axel Laflamme decides against it. It's a little bit messy for these three at the moment, but Laflamme's got another chance. Is he going to have a look up to the Ascari? Immediately, Knežević ushering into the outside, deciding against it on the brakes. In we go. And we had a warning for Quercio. In the meantime, Lucas Murno, a 1 minute 23.7. That is the new fastest lap of the race, and he is making those super soft tyres work, which means he is likely going to undercut Filip Pushka and make sure he comes out ahead. But the question is, how much of a gap can he eat in to those Holland Racing Team cars? In the meantime, Knežević is in, and this is going to be his mandatory pit stop.
I mean, it won't be a great result for Alexander Knežević today, but what a great driver he is, still fighting with that car, and really putting up a good fight as well. He's not really easy to pass. He's really doing well out there.
You know, I really appreciate Knežević's spirit. I believe it was Knežević last week who also had multiple disconnects and still kept coming back to race. So I appreciate that even if he's not having a good afternoon, he just carries on. And, you know, you've got to respect that because, you know, not everyone does.
Yeah, it appears he's on some sort of side quest sometimes. I think in Melbourne he broke the record for most pit stops. Oh my goodness!
Infernal Void! Oh my goodness, Kativo and B, and then ironically B also with a penalty there for pit lane speeding, I think. So both of them have now got pit lane speeding penalties, and they're nearly into each other. Oh, and Benton he's just diving out the way. Okay, he's noticed the leaders coming by.
That was drastic.
Well, he's making sure he's not going to get any warnings for that. Daniel Benton-Reader on a point-scoring run up to Hungary. Looks like he's going to go 2 races without points at this rate, unless things start going his way the last few laps.
Well, I think Laflamme's still yet to pit. Machado's still yet to pit. Peckley yet to pit. He lost out to Fernando Lobau. He was ahead of him before the pit stop, but remember Benton-Reader had quite a lengthy pit stop, probably to fix some damage on the car. So that must have cost him.
Benton-Reader is now up into the top 10 with Machado stopping. Knezovic just behind. And diving out of the way of Filip Puška. Puška is slowly bringing the gap down. Just if there is enough time for him to bring it all the way down. In the meantime, Victor B serving his penalty. Moving clear of traffic.
I'll tell you what, Lucas Murner is slowly eating into the gap, so I think he will definitely have passed Puška by the time that he stops. And the HRT cars might have to watch out for him as well. And the gap's still 29.5 seconds, but that one has come down. It was over 30 at some point.
And in comes Laflamme for his pit stop. There's quite a big gap to Peckley, but there is Peckley coming through. But it's a very swift change. And we've got a car coming in the background. Is that one of the Holland Racing Team cars in? Yes, it is. It is Jannis Volborn in the pits for his stop. This will be interesting to see where he comes out in relation to Lucas Murno. So, change made. I think Jarno has just gone through. And out we go.
Yeah, there's Murno in the background.
And another fastest lap, so I'm imagining we're about to see Jannis Volborn set up the timing sheets.
Yeah, very true. That is now the expectation. There's a long yellow in sector 2.
But very interesting that Volborn made the move first, making sure he isn't going to be the one to get undercut. He obviously had track position, so made the call first of all.
Yeah, I imagine Pascal Poland will follow. I think Puška's been gaining a bit ever since he is released.
Absolutely. And I do wonder if he will follow Pascal Poland's in, because we know it's the undercut very powerful typically in this competition, and obviously they're going from mediums to the super softs as well. And yes, Puška has followed Poland's in.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, yeah.
Jannis Volborn immediately flying. We'll see what the gaps are. They were pretty much together when Jannis Volborn peeled off. Gino Gagliano into the lead of his home race. And there you can see the difference, 1 lap.
I think this is close with Murno for Poland. Look at that. Maybe 1 lap more and Murno would have been past Volborn. So this is right in time.
Oh, and very interestingly, Axel Laflamme has been given a drive-through penalty for crashing into Pascal Poland. So we didn't catch that. It's obviously not affected Poland's too much, but maybe that is one of the reasons why the gap has come down a little bit more. In the meantime, Gino Gagliano leading the race. How soon do you think we'll see him in, or do you think he'll be left out there to maybe block a little bit for Filip Puška?
Well, I think he's not under pressure from anyone behind. So I think they can afford to try and cost Volborn a bit of time to get Puška a bit closer. I don't think we'll see Gino in this lap. I may very well be wrong though, but I think it's worth a shot to try and hold up Wilborn for 1 or 2 laps, maybe.
Oh, absolutely. In the meantime, Volborn is dealing with backmarker there, one of the Velocitas. Charged through the Rettifilio chicane.
And by the way, Gino Giugiano, I think these might be the first laps that he ever leads in the WMSC, and it is at his home race. So great afternoon for Gino after not the greatest season. So he might also be enjoying that.
And like I say, he was running fifth. Gino's best result of the season has been a 4th place in France, but other than that, he's only had 1 other points finish. So if he can get to 5th this afternoon,
my goodness, I think he's done for into this car chicane. I don't think he can keep him behind.
Oh, he got a little bit overcooked it into the first Lesmo. Is he going to try and block? Does try and put the car in the middle of the road, but Volborn goes to the inside. Oh, and they go side by side, and they're going to have to yield. Does try and defend it, but yeah, he put himself at a big disadvantage there with that near off-track moment.
Yeah, I wonder now if he immediately comes in or tries the same thing against Poland, because Pushka is still in a race with him as well, and he's staying out. I think now there's a back marker in there. That is also an unfortunate situation to find yourselves in, if you are that. Oh, and this is what happened between Axel Laflamme, who got the penalty for contact with Pascal Poland. This is going to be interesting.
Just not spotted him.
I think he had a bit of the sausage curb there, then...
So he's going to move out the way. Oh, but has he just moved a bit too far?
Okay.
That didn't seem so bad.
Does he try to dive bomb into De La Roggia now?
Or does he? Yeah, misses breaking point.
No.
Oh no, Axel! No!
Oh my goodness! Well done to stop it somehow, though.
So it wasn't contact, but obviously Poland's having to take evasive action. My goodness.
But what a reaction from Pascal Poland. He must have spotted that just in time to miss the chicane.
I was about to say, Mauricio Quercio is, with the exception of Gino Giugiano, the one guy who's not stopped, but Quercio is in. In the meantime, Giugiano is trying to defend, but a bit of a sitting duck there on the main straight, and through goes Pascal Poland. So it's Volborn from Poland's Giugiano to stop. Murno is coming up from behind, as is Pushka. We have 13 laps to go. Can anyone eat into the gaps? Because it did seem like Filip Pushka was the fastest man out there, but after that mistake, he's just not been able to catch up, and Volborn and Poland's have looked quite comfortable.
Yeah, I think Gino might now stay out for one more lap to try and hold Murno up a bit to help his teammate, but then I think it's time to go in because slowly Villami is looking a bit dangerous for Gino.
Oh my goodness, and you see a bit of a big exit there coming out from for that slight delay. We had some technical difficulties. We rejoined the race, and you've not missed too much. Filip Pushka has been able to catch and pass Lucas Murno. Daniel Benton has DNF from a suspected disconnect, and Gonzalez Cativo has had a penalty for crossing the pit exit with 2 tyres. So, as it stands, Janis Volborn is on the way to win the race by just over a second from Pascal Poland. Filip Pushka is trying to shut the gap, but it looks like he's going to run out of time. As you can see, the top 4 all in your picture there. Gino Giugiano completes his stop later than everyone else, but slots into 5th. Paolo Villami on course for his first points. We've got Timonel in 6th. Fernando Lebao nursing his damaged Magnum Motorsports car could be on his way to 7th place, and Peckley It could be another great point for Potenza Esport, just keeping out the valiant Alexander Knežević driving with a damaged car.
Yeah, I think you really have to say João Fernando and Alex Knežević probably with the drive of the afternoon. Results 7th and 9th might not sound too spectacular, but considering that their car is not able to go in a straight line, this is quite impressive.
Well, they've done a fabulous job after the early issues, but as we can see, Yannis Volborn now heading towards the Ascari chicane for the final time, and it's been a brilliant afternoon. Lost the lead to his teammate and very nearly to Filip Puška as well, but took the place back early in the race, has managed to stay there, took the early pit stop, made the gap from the undercut, and it has been another fine afternoon for Yannis Volborn. It is win number 6 of the season for Yannis Volborn. Pascal Polens comes home in 2nd, Filip Puška across the line in 3rd, and Lucas Murno 4th. Not that far away from each other. In the meantime, Gino Gagliano will be very happy. 2nd best result of the season so far. Great for him, great for the team. That his home race looking to come home in 5th place. I think he's pretty happy about
celebrate
it.
Too early, mate.
1 corner to go. And a fabulous result for Gino Gagliano. Absolutely brilliant work indeed. You can celebrate now. You're safe.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, very well done. Paulo Willarmi also good race. Don't forget him.
Does a good job, and João Fernando can be very happy with that indeed. Nursing home the car, keeping clear of everything after that early incident, and Gabriel Peckley, back-to-back points for him. Absolutely brilliant work. What an afternoon. Knežević, no points for him, but as to be said, you've got to be very happy with that as well.
Yeah, he can't even be asked with the in-lap. He just immediately, as soon as he crossed the line, he had enough of driving that thing. But yeah, what an afternoon for Yannis Volborn. This is great for him, and great for the championship as well. His main rival only finishing 4th. Now we see a bit of chaos.
And there we go. Donuts. And a fine finish indeed. We will get the top 3 in with us in a moment. Oh, no, there we go. I was about to say some more controlled donuts, but there goes that one. Holland Racing Team very happy indeed with their work.
Yeah, I wonder if that they expected this afternoon. Quite the relaxed afternoon, I shall say, for them even. As soon as Puška spun, I think they were never in danger of losing that 1-2.
Absolutely, I think that was the let-off they needed. So let's have a look at the provisional results for this afternoon. Yannis Volborn and Pascal Polens, they start 1-2, they finish 1-2. It could have been so much different for Filip Puška. He comes home 3rd. Lucas Murno just not quite there today, but a solid 4th place for him. Gino Gagliano very happy with a home 5th place. Paulo Villarmi, his first points for Optimal Esports, while João Fernando does an incredible job nursing home that Magnum Motorsports car. Gabriel Peckley getting the last points position ahead of another driver who should be very happy with his afternoon's work, even though he misses out on the points. Mark Jordan for Velocita, the highest of all the Velocita and Infernal Voids this afternoon. Teis Machado comes home 11th, while Axel Laflamme finishes in 12th. It's Victor B and Gonzalez Cativo in 13th and 14th, with Harley Self 15th, Mauricio Quercio 16th, Benton Reader with a late disconnect, Beerhoff retiring earlier, and Denny Vella out at the end of the first lap. After that, quite dramatic crash on the main straight. But now we are joined by the top three, and we are going to start, of course, with Yanis Volborn. Yanis, congratulations. How easy was that this afternoon? It looked quite comfortable for the most part, but early on, not so much.
Yeah, the car was on rails. Pascal made a good job with the setup. Yeah, car was just fantastic.
No, very solid performance. Obviously, the start was a bit interesting. Obviously, you got overtaken and then had to do some big defending there from Philip Pushka. What happened with the start there?
Yeah, our first gear was a bit too long, so we bogged down a bit. And yeah, then we got drive with the second gear.
And was there any form of plan in terms of, obviously, when you've got two cars at the front and you're trying to defend from DRS, was there any kind of plan in terms of, are you going to hold position? Were you going to pass each other when needs be? What was the plan or the conversations going into the race?
Yeah, well, just simple decision from us is that whoever comes first in the first corner stays first for the first time. Yeah, and then we decide who's faster and can save with a bit tires or fuel, so that our car is pretty even.
Of course, and you got the earlier pit stop of the two, and I think you made the undercut really count. So you got that gap towards the end. So a very fine drive indeed this afternoon. Looking ahead to Portimao, how are you feeling in terms of your chances there and the car at that particular circuit?
Yeah, I think the car should be fine. I mean, on fast track like Monza we are fast, and on a slow track like Monaco we are fast. So yeah, our car should be on point if we get the right setup. And yeah, let's see.
Are you feeling like the car is a bit more manageable on different types of circuits this year? Because obviously last year you'd very low downforce, but it seemed like there's much more of a difference between circuit types. Here it seems like the car's working a lot better on all kinds of circuits.
Yeah, from the balance, the car for us is better this year. So last year we had to throw the car into a corner with the low downforce, which suited us, but yeah, sometimes we had a tire disadvantage from that. But yeah, this year the car is just on rails with the very high downforce set, and yeah, working.
Nope, seems like it's going very well. Congratulations, Yanis. Very well done.
Thank you.
Pascal, to you, obviously, props again for the setup. Did you feel like you had a good chance in terms of taking your second consecutive win?
Well, I think it was very open until I was almost killed by, I think it was Axel. But yeah, I think I just had some tough luck with the pit stop I had, because I had quite a few back markers then, but well, that's racing, and in the end, I don't know how it would have panned out in the end. So yeah, I think I'm okay with the result.
I think as a team, you've worked very well together, and you always seem to have a good strategy when it's the pair of you up ahead. On the incident with Axel, obviously there wasn't any contact, but it looked like you had to take some evasive maneuvers. Could you just see that it was starting to go wrong for him in the mirrors, and you had to just get out the way?
Yeah, exactly. I just saw quite a big blue spot in my rear left mirror, and I was thinking, yeah, maybe it's not quite worth it to just turn in. So yeah, I could avoid it luckily, but yeah, in the end it still cost me like over 2 seconds, and that also nearly brought mono into my DRS. But in the end, as I said, it still worked out quite okay, I think.
No, yeah, I think it was the right call to just to bail out, and yeah, it's worked out well for you once again. But a very solid drive from you as well this afternoon. Great work as a team, and yeah, very good luck for Portugal.
Yeah, thank you.
Philip, so close for you this afternoon. First of all, let's talk about the start. What an incredible launch that was! So close to getting ahead.
Yeah, but didn't really get me anything in the end because there was no room on the grass at work. But being on the outside into turn one, and I could have risked everything and braked even later than Yanis, but it was not worth it, I think. So I saw a little bit going on to the mirror, so I thought maybe, yeah, just back out. Yeah, and then obviously just an unnecessary mistake from my side, which cost me the chance for the win. But yeah, I think in the end, P3 was the minimum I would have wanted to get because the car was really good, I think. Maybe the first time this year that I was having the feeling of having the pace to win. But yeah, I think overall it's a positive race. Maybe not the win I would have hoped for, but in the end, there's plenty of races to go. And yeah, let's see.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think it seemed like the car was very well set up for today. Team bringing a lot of upgrades, so it seemed like you were very much in the best position to take the fight to them. And it seemed like turn one specifically was where you spotted your chance when you saw that there was maybe an opportunity to get past when they weren't wanting to overtake each other. I'm guessing that was your main point of attack to try and catch them off guard.
Yeah, I think I was pretty good on the brakes for this race. Pascal and Janis obviously played a little bit of games, which is fine. They can do. I just got on the grass and braked, and obviously the car pulls to one side and you spin. Pretty unnecessary in that moment, especially, but that's how it goes. I think there's more to come. Obviously, I think there's a little bit of run of podiums for me the last few races, so that's a positive to take. Yeah, let's wait and see.
No, absolutely. You've got the, I think, second longest run of consecutive points finishes now. And as you say, you've had podiums all the way since Monaco. So it's a good run of form, and I hope it continues for you.
Yeah, thank you.
So, Robin, obviously a slightly unorthodox stream for us today with our little break. But from what you saw, who would you give driver of the day to?
I think purely of what we've seen, Alexander Knazovic, for pure fighting spirit that he managed to drag that car into the finish, because it looked undrivable after that. I think it was lap 2 big crash that he had. So I think I'll give it to him for good sportsmanship and fighting spirit.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's a great shout. And also a nod to João Fernando Labau as well. Similarly damaged and getting it another 2 points out. I think that's his second 7th place finish in a row. Great work from him. So next time we will return. It'll be the 13th of October for Portimao in Portugal. I don't think I was here for this one last year, so I'm really looking forward to seeing this race, and we will be there both together, hopefully uninterrupted and live next time for round 10. So thank you so much for watching. I do hope you will join us for it.